Hard to do with one hand. Gotta get a tripod, I guess. Alrighty. Money shot. There's not gonna be anything left in here, I think. This is the hydraulic chamber, which I don't think there's a whole lot going on in here. Yeah, there's a little bit. It looks a little runny. Probably got some water in it. But we'll let that drain for a little bit. And we'll go take the manifold off so we can blow some air in there. We'll have to cap this off after we drain this out, so we can see if we can see some bubbles in the transmission. I'll have to, after this drains out, I'll take the cover off the transmission up top. Probably not the best way to do this, but not very expensive. And probably eats the paint. Probably should power wash this thing before I started working on it. That was my intent when I went to go test drive it. I was going to take and wash it down, but then the hydraulics started pumping into the trains, I think. All right, well, I'm going to clean that up a little bit more and I'll come back to you once I start ready to take the bolts off. I had to use pipe wrench to get that off initially. Soaked it with some coal oil as well. That seemed to help a little bit. That was the new boot I put on there. I'll put that back on there afterwards. We need to disconnect this wire here too. One sec, be right back. Go ahead and disconnect the battery too while we're at this stage, because I guess if I take that wire off the starter switch and it grounds out, it'll try and start the tractor. So probably wouldn't be a bad idea to take this off anyway. I'll take that off and stick that there. And I'll go around to the other side and take this wire off the starter switch, or whatever it's called. I've got a new one of these caps to put on there too, but I think I'll have to either take the wire loose or recrimp another connector on there to get it through the boot. That one's got a lot of crack in it. Not that it matters. Or it may be split to, it's just worn. Put the screw back in here. Lose it. Alright, let's put that back over there. Put that out of the way. I'll be trying to figure out why I don't start later when I go to put that back on, or not put that wire on when I go to start it. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna need a longer socket for that. Yes, you can see that. I think I already have a new gasket for this. I'll have to check. If not, I'll have to order one, I guess. I'm gonna make it myself. I think they're all loose enough to, except for that one, I need a longer extension for that. I got this one laying here. Let's see if it'll work. Okay. And I should be able to get most of it on there. Pack would have probably been real good with this. Sheet metal's in the way here though. Well, the wrench could probably be better here. Or my hand. Or my hand. Where did it goes? All right, one more after this one. Cut that out. Make sure. Let's see, right here is probably where the tab's at right here. Yeah, I think that's going to be. I think I'm going to get the hammer. Oh yeah, there we go. It's broken loose there now. Definitely gonna probably have to replace that gasket now. I wasn't all that careful with that. Oh yeah, the shifter came right out of there. Okay. Guess I'll let you see that. It's the underside of that. A little rust there. Set that aside. For a closer look. Get some light on in there. You can see there, it looks pretty watery down in there. Doesn't look like there's enough fluid in there, but I guess that's where it needs to be. And I believe that tube right there is the tube right there in the bottom of the picture. There is the one we're after, I believe. That looks like it might line up. Well, that might be a little bit higher than I think it should be, but doesn't look like there's. Yeah, trying to get you some light so you can see what's going on in there. All right, I think we're good here. I think we might have to put some more fluid in here if that's the actual tube right there, so we can fully submerge it. We'll start pumping air into the. What we'll do next is I'll come down here and take this manifold off here. We'll clean that up a little bit. Ooh, that's red. We'll clean that up a little bit, and then we'll expose those tubes. Then I did get the replacement tube. Here's the actual tube that will stick in there if it. There's part number there. They sell a tool that you can use for the end of here when you go to press it back in. But I'll either, I may have some bearing or seal presses, I guess you call them, or I don't know what you call them, but or either I've got a lathe, we can probably machine something to where it'll insert into the end of the tube and catch this lip, so when we go to drive it back in there, I think they one of these ends is tapered. If I don't know if you can tell, see a slight taper on it from about it's a slight taper from about right here to the end. That's where it catches on the inside the transmission casing right here on the side. And then we'll once we get the manifold off there, you'll see a better picture of that. But let me get this cleaned up, and then we'll unbolt that manifold. It's still it looks like it's about done draining, so we can put that plug back in as well. All right. I've already loosened these up. Got the two that I was actually recording it. I tell you, recording it does slow you down. I'm doing some of this stuff. I think they're all loose enough to where I can get them with my hands. So they're 11/16. There's 3 bolts here on at the top of the pump. There's one here back behind it. 2 others, and then there's 3 down here on this end. 2 here, and then 1 on the back side. I don't know if that flashlight is really helping anything. Should start leaking some fluid. I'm not sure how much fluid's going to be coming out of this part. I'll be moving the pan from back there real quick if it starts pouring out, I guess. I believe these are all same length. No, that one's longer. So I need to, the top one's longer. And then the back one. Yes, looks like the one's longer there. Alright, we'll sneak in here and get these. Oh, these are studs. Bolt. There we go. A little bit coming out. That looks pretty clean. You'll be able to see that pipe here in a second once I get this last bolt out on the back side. I'll flip you upside down here. They're tighten it. That's a rookie mistake. I think that's good. We'll do it rest by hand there so it doesn't fall on the ground. Alright, hang on a second. We'll put the camera down a second so I can get this two-hand job. I want to lift up on the manifold there so I can get that last bolt. There it is with the manifold removed. There's the tubes. Maybe you can see a little bit better there. I believe it's the smaller tube there that we're going to go out. One's draining right now. That's the larger, what do you call it? That's the smaller to the right there is the pressure tube, and then that's the return, the larger one up top. All right, we'll let that drain a little bit, and we'll come back. Well, I guess that confirms my suspicion that that tube is leaking, because I assume that's all the fluid from the transmission leaked out. I didn't even think to put a bigger pan, so now I got a major cleanup here. So I presume that's all the fluid out of the transmission that's leaked. Let's see if this chamber's empty now overnight. Yeah, it's empty. So I'm pretty sure that tube's got probably a pretty significant hole in it if all the fluid out of the transmission is leaked through the hydraulics and out onto my floor. That's just great. Another rookie move. I'll get this cleaned up. That looks milky. That's from the trans. It went ahead and started draining what's left in the trans after everything else leaking out the hydraulic tube. So we're going to let that drain. Got an empty pan here, so hopefully that'll capture what's left, and maybe we'll rinse it out with something before we start pulling that tube out. All right, let's do a little test here with this nozzle on the high pressure line. Don't think I'm gonna be able to see anything, but I got a light shining there. There you can hear it, but sounds like it's on the back side of the transmission. it's definitely air coming out of the transmission, so it's definitely got a hole. So we'll go ahead and tap that line and see if we can't use a slide hammer or a bolt or something to pull it out. Stay tuned. All right, starting to work on getting this tube removed. I've tested it out and it's pulled it out a little bit. So basically took a 7/16 tap, and it was a bit of an effort to work that in there. Keep going back and forth, not to go too fast. And it's about 3/4 of an inch to 7/8 of an inch threaded in there. So what I did, make up a little tool here, basically a piece of 7/16 20 threads per inch, piece of threaded bar, a couple nuts on the end, kind of locked together, give me something to turn, to actually screw it in, and then this is the nut that will actually tighten up against the piece of pipe there, basically to act as a puller. So basically just put a couple washers on there so it doesn't flatten out. We'll thread this guy in here. Make sure you get that piece of pipe is just big enough to fit over top of the tube that's in there. Make sure we get, let's back off that. Make sure we get it threaded in all the way. Don't want to get too tight here. What I don't want to do is go past where I've threaded it. I did actually find a video on YouTube of somebody attempted to do this. Their first attempt was they basically snapped the tube in half, and I really think that was because they had it threaded in too tight, kind of beyond where they had tapped it, and kind of just snapped the tube off. So that's basically bottomed out. So I just back it off just a hair, just to make sure it's not going to try to snap the tube off, and make sure that's, you know, actually solid, sitting up against the block instead of on the tube. So that's tight. So now we'll crank down on this and see if we can get it to pull loose. What I did, I actually poured some diesel fuel after I drained both the transmission and the hydraulic area, trying to get any sludge that was in there. And so I got both drain plugs open, and I also let some of the diesel fuel come down through these pressure tubes, or the pressure tube in the return line, and it looked somewhat clean. Still got a little bit of oil in there, but we'll see how clean it is after we get this out. Seems to be going pretty easy. I did, before camera, I tested this out, and I did get a nice little pop from it. So hopefully, unfortunately, I didn't get that on camera so you could hear it, but it's either coming out very nicely or it's broke. We'll find out here shortly. I think you got to move it about 1 inch to get it out of the outside casing of the transmission here. Need one of those ratchet wrenches here. moving pretty good right now. Oop, I hit the camera there. Let me readjust the camera here. All right, I think she's loose. Let's, yeah, there's the tube coming out. Alrighty, let's see if we can find a hole. There's the hole right there. See if we can get a split right there. If I can get it focused on the camera. That's a very small split. I'm looking for some other splits in here, but if I can get it to focus on the split here. All right, tell you what, let me put the camera down a sec, let me clean it up, and then I'll find the hole and show it to you. All right, I got it over here, a contrasting color. So I was thinking that this was my problem here, about the center of the screen. There was some pitting there, and there may be a hole there, but I think there's as I turn it around, yeah, there's a slit there that I'm not sure that actually goes all the way through, but go about midway down here's the actual hole that you can pretty much see clear as day. I think I've pushed some dirt into the hole, but I could actually see light through it. And there's it's actually on both sides. There's one on this side, and then the larger one is actually on here. And that's where all the hydraulic fluid was coming out of this tube into the transmission. So we've got the new one over here laying on the tractor. Oh, it's actually laying on the ground here. We'll get that one matched up. Ah, that's an interesting thing. The one I ordered here is not the same. Oh no, I'll take that back. Thought it was not the same length, but I'm accounting for the screw I've got on the end here. All right, so it looks to be the same length. I'll get the calipers on it, make sure the bell end of it is going the right way before we reinsert it, and I'll probably try and clean that up a little bit before we get it back in there. But that's obviously, I'd say, a pretty significant hole when you're talking about as higher pressure as this tractor. It almost looks like it was a drilled hole in there, but I guess the hydraulic fluid going through there, once it cracks, it gives you that. So, alrighty, well, we'll gonna clean this up a little bit, and we'll get back at it, put it back together. And just to confirm, we got it over here in the parts washer. Basically pumping the fluid in here, and there's the hole when you drop the phone and that stuff. That'll be good. But you can see the hole pretty clearly there. There we go. All right. That's just going to wrap it up for this video. We'll do a second part for the reassembly. Until next time.